Hello, Chinmay.
Hi Anmol, good to be back.
Yeah, last time we shot a podcast or we recorded this conversation around 1.5 months back. So good to have you back.
A lot of things have changed over 1.5 months. So in current times, 1.5 months seems like a decade. Yeah.
So, as you have said, a lot of things have changed in the past 1.5 months. So, we will talk about what those changes are and how those changes have impacted Nagent and how Nagent's approach to the market has changed. So, I want to discuss a very interesting theme in today's discussion. So we keep hearing two terms very often these days. One is no code agent building, one vibe coding. Both terms do have a lot of technical and functional differences, but at times the terms are used interchangeably. So in next 15-20 minutes or so, I want to deep dive into both these methods of building solutions on how do they differ, what are the pros and cons of both approaches, and how do you or Nagent as a whole see this landscape evolving. Right. So I'll structure a podcast into three segments. First segment, we will talk about the two approaches. What are the parameters or the functional need that makes a use case for each of the approaches? What are the strength and limitations of each? So that will be the first segment. Second segment, I'll talk about uh, how Nagent sees this landscape evolving. No code agent builder became a very hot thing last year. This year, maybe vibe coding is more in news. How do you see the trend evolving in 2026 and say 2027? And in the last segment, I will want you to talk about how you have evolved Nagent's tech stack to, in a way, incorporate the requirements of both the approaches, and how do you see Nagent's product and platform evolving?
Sure. Uh, so Anmol, we started with our agent marketplace. We started with our agent building, right? But over the last, I'd say 4 5 months, as you mentioned, the focus has shifted a lot to vibe coding or application building. I would say. So considering all those things, right? So we also needed to evolve. And what I saw was like once a agent is built, right? Agent is like a it's a employee who does certain work for you at any point in time. But what if I want to see how that agent has done over the last 30 days or 60 days or 90 days? What are the analytics, or if I want to build an ecosystem around that particular agent, then how do I go about it? So that is where this now, since the app building has become very easy, right? So it has become imperative, and even the same question came from a lot of our customers that, hey, I built an agent, I'm using it, but right now, how do I deploy it to my cloud? Or what if I want to bring in my own code to, or my engineers to come and build on top of it? Uh, I have some Python scripts, or I wanted to make it a bigger application which can talk to a number of different tools. So that is where, this thing is converging. The market is converging where the agentic world and the application world are coming together now. So that is where we are coming up with our own app building platform, which is going to launch soon, which is very similar to the likes of the Emergence. And so we want to unify this platform together, where I believe that all the experimentation, ideation, which model to use, which prompts to use, they will go into building the apps or agents, I would say, right? There will be a lot of experimentation, and once that becomes a solid, where the agent is able to produce the output that it is supposed to do, that is where to take it into the customer's environment. And as I mentioned, the customers want to build on top of it. So everything cannot be done on a no code agent building platform. That is where the coding again comes in. So if you want to build that as a full-fledged application, so agents to applications, so that world is converging, and that is where we are going to come up with Buildcraft. I'm, for the first time we are announcing this. It's in beta right now. We'll be opening it up soon, and where the idea is you can take any agent and build an application out of it within few minutes. But as I always mention, vibe coding cannot guarantee you production ready applications. It's good to get started. Maybe something which was taking 6 months can be done in a less than a day's time, and that is where our app building platform also comes in. But again, as you mentioned, in the last 1.5 months or 2 months, one term that has picked up is forward deployed engineers, right? So I keep mentioning that engineers will have a role to play. So that is where we are going to position this, where if the customers, they need support from us, right? We'll have our forward deployed engineers who will work with the customers to make these application production ready and deploy it in their environment. So that's how things are shaping up, and the world is converging, as I said. Yeah.
This is an excellent summary that you have given about how the app building or the solution building landscape is evolving in the last 6 months or so, and what are the motivations or what was the feedback that we got from the market that made us also venture into this space, and how we have repositioned an agent product building platform. So, okay, that's a very good summary. But now let's deep dive into all these aspects one by one so that it becomes a very simplified explanation for all the people who would be watching this podcast. So, let's start with very basics. One is vibe coding, one is a no code agent building platform or just no code agent building. So, what I understand is how do we differentiate the two on a very fundamental level? In a no code agent building, the platform or the product on which you are building this have some preset architectural components which you just club them through a drag and drop way or whatever way. So you just use those different components to build something. Whereas in vibe coding, there is no fixed platform, no foundation. You start from scratch. You use a copilot or you use a text-based approach. You start giving instructions, and from the scratch, the application, the code starts getting generated. Is this understanding right?
Yeah. So again, like why, as I mentioned, right? We are converging the platform to have all these elements come together, and there's a deep thinking process behind it. Uh, the vibe coding thing is expensive, right? And by the time you realize that it's addictive, and people suddenly feel that, particularly the non-tech users, they suddenly feel like they have the superpowers, very empowered, right? And uh, even in our team we have seen, right? So people are burning like 30, 40, 50,000 rupees in a day because it is that addictive. So that is where vibe coding may not sustain, but if we club our no code agent building platform, right, where, as I mentioned, the word experimentation, you exactly do all the experimentation, try out different models, different prompts, and once you have a solid thing, then you go to the vibe coding platform, take help from an engineer, and you can roll out a fully production ready thing, right, without burning like too much credits. Only people making money out of is probably Cloud and GPT, right? So it's interesting times, but things are evolving, and suddenly, if it's pretty interesting. Like the other day we were talking to a fintech client, and he saw the power of this platform, right? And he has given us to build 4 5 applications, agentic applications, I would say. And we were able to do it. It's still not production ready, but within couple of days we were able to build a couple of products for them using our Buildcraft. And now we have to get back to them, talk to them, evolve the PRDs, get an engineer into the loop, and probably I would say, to be optimistic, neither too optimistic also, but it may take anywhere between a month or 1.5 months to actually get a production ready application. Right. So that's the way things are shaping up right now.
So you mentioned about different parameters on how the two approaches stands. So okay, let's deep dive into all of them. The first one being control oblique flexibility versus reliability. Like you said, whenever any person, especially a non-tech domain expert, goes into the vibe coding route, he or she feels very empowered because you are able to see some results, a very custom results very soon. So you feel very excited and you feel that 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 approach is very addictive. But like you said, the challenge comes in the quality of code. The
In the
reliability comes in question.
quality of code and also the understanding, right? So if you are generating like 10,000 or I would say 50,000 lines of code, and you are a non-tech guy and you don't understand what is going behind the scenes, and you are not even aware what kind of DB it has chosen. Uh, we have given those controls in our Buildcraft. Those controls are there, unlike any other, application building platform. People should be aware of what's exactly going on, like how was the tech stack chosen, why it was chosen, uh, what DB was chosen, why it was chosen. So all those things have to be uh, told to the user. How much they understand, how much they don't understand is a different topic, but at least I think they should be aware of what's going on behind the scenes. So yesterday I saw someone like you know uh, one of our non-tech users, right? Uh, they generated an application, pretty good application. The application works perfectly fine. But when I asked, like, can you tell me what is the DB behind this? It took them some time to figure out how many tables are there. You know, I saw them, there were like 70, 80 DB tables. Now, we don't know how those DBs are connected to each other, how they are talking to each other, what are the different columns, right? So that is where I believe, you will need these forward deployed engineers to work with the team and make sure that things are not broken. And if they are broken, how do we? The challenge comes when things break at 2 a.m. in the morning, right? And if the uh, your LLM model starts hallucinating, you'll see all kinds of problems. They will go into loops. So that is where the challenges are. But interesting time. Things are evolving. Things are improving. Yeah.
So you focused on two major things. Firstly, like you said, in a normal vibe coding setup or most of the solutions which are available globally in India or anywhere in the market for building such apps, the architectural is like a black box approach that you build some application, you might feel very excited, but you really don't know how the architecture works or how the design of the solution is. So while designing our app building solution, Buildcraft, you have um, kept into consideration that okay, to a greater extent, you will bring some AI explainability that how the DB tables are set up, how the flow looks like, etc. So that there is more control on how you want to further iterate on that application. Or say you build something through vibe coding. Now, like you said, you want the forward deployed engineers to further improvise on that. So they are not starting from a black box foundation. They have a lot of clarity on what they want to improve and what they want to change.
Exactly. So when I designed Buildcraft, right? So I kept in mind our multi-agentic workflow, or as we say in our terminologies, different stages or agents, right? So I have kept the same similar approach. That's our core philosophy. Uh, but being very transparent, we show to the user what each agent is doing and the output of each agent. For example, whenever a user is trying to build an application, our first agent is a product understanding agent, which actually understands the user requirement, and they generate a full-fledged PRD or a product requirement document, which the user can go through in detail. You know, and then the next agent picks up, which is our agent, which is our architecture agent, right? So the architecture agent now is supplied with the PRD. The architecture agent now understand the product requirement, and based on that, it lays down the architecture, like which tech stack to use, how is going to be my DB design, and whether I need caching. All those things are taken into picture. That's your architecture design. And then we have our coding agents, where they one by one, the back end coding agent and the front end coding agent. So we have kept the core philosophy of an agent, where It's a stage-based orchestration. It's a stage-based orchestration, and each stage is again an agent which is specialized for doing a particular task, right? And with this approach, as I mentioned, right, the user has the opportunity to review things at every stage before finally going into a code generation or things like that. And then there are some advanced agents where uh, which doesn't block your core pipeline, like you will have your security audit agent or your deployment agent. All those things will be advanced agents, right? So once the user is fully satisfied with the application that's generated, then they can, as I mentioned, either they can uh, go with forward with the deployment, or they can, if they have a tech team, right, they can use one of their engineers to do the deployment for them, or if they want our help, if they are on a premium plans, we can also help them deploy to their cloud, right? So that's how. And I have seen upfront the uh, the outputs that we are getting. It's still pretty early, but I have used multiple platforms, and I can very well say that this approach is going to be a game changer.
So what basically you are like, I'll just rephrase what you said, that because we have continued to follow the philosophy of state based orchestration, the debugging or the evals stays intact, so that you could build an application, refine it, iterate it, largely perfect it, and then either you deploy it or you give to your forward deployed engineers who could further improvise on it. Yeah. So whatever discussions on different forum on Reddit, LinkedIn, X, wherever I've read, so this aspect of reliability versus control is like a very common thing. But as such, I have not heard about the aspect of cost which you brings in, right? That if you start directly through vibe coding route, you burn a lot of tokens because you have to experiment a lot of time. Those all things keep coming. Whereas if you start on a no code agent building philosophy or on that platform, there you could optimize for cost in that experimentation phase, because you do not have to write the code again and again. There are already pre-stitched elements. You could just experiment with different models, prompts, knowledge base stages. You perfect it through iterations, then use that knowledge or that file or that blueprint to then create an application. Is this understanding right?
Absolutely correct. So, as I mentioned, right, so we have kept these two things separate, right? It's although a platform approach, but it's not that you have to do it. If your agent is exactly doing what it is supposed to do, you are good to go. But if you want to build on top of it, if you are building as I mentioned, a full-fledged application, so there is a very fine line between agent as an application, as per my understanding, right? Agent takes an input, gives an output, and keeps running, right? But what if, like, different elements come together where the customer might say, hey, I want to bring in my APIs, or I want to build different solutions around this agent. That is where it has to span out as an application altogether, right? And we allow customers to take them out into their cloud environment, their GitHub repositories, and they can start building on top of it, which I think is, right now, is one of the challenges for many enterprise customers when they are looking at agentic solutions. The first question that comes is, hey, can I build on top of it? Can I inject my code into it? Where our no code agent builder might not suffice, right? So that's where that flexibility has to be brought in. And as I mentioned, the control is with the customer. Customer is king.
So what essentially you're saying, that what you would advise, say, a domain expert or someone to come to the platform, use a no code agent building approach, build agentic solutions, experiment with different models, different stages, different knowledge base, through different iteration, perfect it, because that cost optimization will be here, and because there are already pre-stitched elements, so reliability, etc., would be there. Perfect that agentic blueprint. Then suppose you have further requirements, which could be you want to host it on your own domain, you want a custom UI UX, you want a, say, specific dashboard or a custom dashboard. So if you have those requirements, take the blueprint from no code agent building, then use it to build a full stack app.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So I think that's a very comprehensive approach that you have brought in, and I would love, So I do not come from a core tech background, but working with you from last 6 months or 8 months or so, I would definitely appreciate that this is system thinking in of very high standards, and whole agent is like very appreciative of you of thinking on this route. So what's the status of Buildcraft? It's in the beta stage. We have already rolled it out to some of our customers, or some people have joined on a wish list or a join wait list. When do you want to, like, when do you foresee it coming to the market in full-fledged mode?
Uh, I think maybe another 30 to 45 days, we will roll out the beta version for the public. The public beta will be available.
So this was a project which was started as a side gig by Chinmay, and he did not have any involvement of the product team, the platform team, or the engineering team. So it's his brainchild, and kudos to him that he has reached so far on his own. It's only very recently that he started taking help of other team members to further.
We don't have the back.
Yeah, even there, it's very minimal help here and there which he has been taking. So I think that's a so the way you are working it itself shows what you can expect out of AI, right? Even you would not have thought that you could build something so close to such a perfect app so soon without any help.
Exactly, Anmol. So, and as I mentioned, right? So, our agent building copilot, which is like we are getting it into production, maybe latest by next week, which is called Helix, by the way. So, Helix and Buildcraft coming together, I think it can be a game changer for sure. This is what true platformization means, right? And there are very few people in the industry who actually uh, have this vision and they understand what is platformization. It's like, I borrowed this term. This term was actually coined by none other than our CEO in Palo Alto Networks, Mr. Nikesh Arora, right? So Nikesh coined this term where uh, he said that platformization is the way to go. Rather than having pointed products doing different things, if you bring everything together, that is where the true power of a platform can be seen. So if a company of that size can do things, we can surely do it.
So uh, Helix is our co-pilot for no-code agent building, and Buildcraft is the follow-up solution wherein you could use the blueprint of that no-code agent building to build a full stack app.
Exactly. So Helix is going to once Helix helps you build a agent, right? It will give you a skill file for that agent, as you mentioned, the blueprint, and you can export that. You can connect that to Buildcraft, and then you can play around and you can build a, I don't know, I mean, any application that you want to build out of it, right? So I'll just give you an example, like our very own ad Genie, right?
So Genie is a content video workflow solution.
Yes, so it generates, let's say, different videos for a particular customer, and over a period of time, let's say the customer wants to know that uh, how many videos they generated, which team generated how many videos. They can have multiple teams also, and
This is talking about a detailed activity log.
detailed activity log, and they want to see what are the performance of each of the ads. If they want to connect to their different, let's say, media platforms like Meta ads or Facebook ads, and these ads were actually running in those those platforms, how they were performing over a period of time, right? So they can build their own application, the customization they can do whatever they want to do. So the core philosophy of ad Genie remains intact, but the customization and the application or ecosystem building around it, that is where the customer can do it themselves. Right? So that's where the things can gel together.
So even in last, so yeah, I think you have beautifully explained the whole landscape and how your own product philosophy has come in while designing the Buildcraft as well as Agent Helix. So now looking ahead, right? Both these things should hit the market very soon, from beta to actual for actual users, market users. So what are the new possibilities that you see with AI, right? Because even AI would have surprised you also. I think you would not have expected that you could be able to build something so soon. Definitely you use a lot of AI tools. So what is next on your horizon, or what are the things which you think is not possible today but you have hope that it may get possible in the near future?
I mean, the pace with which things are evolving, right? It's unprecedented. In the humankind has never seen such kind of a thing, right? So we don't know what's going to happen, but the key here is you have to be very flexible. You have to adapt, and you have to keep moving, right? And uh, one of the things I still believe is that a lot of people build build still building pointed products, right? Nothing against them, because uh, maybe they have spent a lot of time, and they have gone deep into a particular uh, subject or domain, right? Uh, but imagine this thing: if you are building for a customer who is in fintech, and that person has his own tech team, maybe a couple of good engineers, so they can directly build these things on site at their place, right? So that's the crazy thing about today's world, right? Everyone thinks they can build, and if they have the right resources, they have the adaptability, they can build, right? So this thing is always there, like whether to build point products or
The
to
platformization, as you said.
platformization. As so good things take time. That's our core belief, and we are heading towards that. Let's see.
Yeah, that's very good. So I'll just sum it up with a couple of things. So, like to all others, I think what you mentioned and the way you brought it into practice comes out that always have an open mind towards how the technologies will evolve. So, like I want to highlight it. So, we are and we were still in the no code agent building space, right? So when a couple of vibe coding platforms became very popular, so unlike many others who were like totally dismissive, okay, vibe coding doesn't work because it's were in a way competing with us. So you did not say that, because when I remember I asked you, okay, do you think vibe coding can replace no code agent building? You did not give me a dismissive answer. No, vibe coding is not good enough. We are the best. You gave me a very open minded answer. It has some challenges, but let's see, it might evolve, it might bring out some limitation, it might further improve, so we don't know. So I think because you kept that mindset open, that's why our landscape has evolved very beautifully, that we know what are the strengths of a no code agent building mode, at the same time some extra elements which vibe coding could bring in, and when you combine both the approaches you could see a real magic. So yes, I think all the best to you, us, and the entire Nagent team, and we hope we see both the products in the market very soon, and let's see how it evolves.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. It was nice talking to you again. And until the next topic, I think soon we'll have a next topic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Chinmay. Thanks.
Thank you.